Hi everyone, welcome to week 4 of Art 202. I wanted to start off by thanking everyone for the grace you gave me last week. It was quite a scary little accident. If you didn't see the announcement that I sent out, I was up in the attic getting down some Christmas decorations, and I fell through the ceiling. I stepped wrong and I fell right through, landed on a table, and really badly beat myself up. God really protected me that nothing was broken. If I had fallen straight through, because there's 10-foot ceilings in that room, I probably would have broken my back or my neck. But since I hit something on the way down, bad news for my hip, but good news for me being able to talk and be here digitally with you right now. So I just want to thank you again for that. I'm still recovering, but doing much, much better. I did go ahead and I got your deconstruction projects graded this morning. So all of your week 2 grades are now in there, and I will be starting this week, of course, on your week 3 grades, so your formal analysis papers especially. So my goal is to have all of that done by Friday, so I should be able to make that goal. I don't think there's a reason why I won't be able to, but just in case, if it doesn't come until Saturday or Sunday, just know that I'm doing my best to get through those. I don't want to get too behind on my grading, just like you guys try to stay on top of your work. So when life happens, and so thank you, those of you who sent me an email just asking how I was and saying you were praying for me. I really do appreciate that. The last thing I wanted to say about your deconstructions project is that make sure that you go in and take a look at the rubrics, because I do use rubrics for all the major assignments. I actually use them for pretty much everything except for quizzes at this point. So go in, look at your grade, read the rubric feedback. If you're still wanting more feedback on that assignment, because I was trying to get through them so I could get caught up a little bit, I didn't take a lot of time to give you extra feedback on those assignments. But if you're wondering, hey, why did I get this grade, or can you give me a little more feedback, just send me an email asking me that, and I will do that for you. I'll kind of let you know specifically some areas where you may need to improve. So don't hesitate to ask me that, and thanks again for the grace of, I wanted to get through those so you could get them back. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into week 4. So we're talking about the power of context this week. This is one of my favorite weeks, my favorite lectures. I think this is a really important topic, and it really will help you to start to look at where your opinions of art come from, why art is made in different time periods according to certain styles, etc. That, there's all these different levels of context that influence the way art is made. So whether it's personal context, so the stories of the artists themselves, or stories they're telling, cultural context, historical context, political context, cultural context. We have to look at all of these different avenues of understanding in order to really interpret a work of art. And so I think that you will find this lecture really valuable. So we're reading chapters 5 and 6, so themes in art and art in and out of context. So quite relevant to our topic. Excuse me if I'm a little slow. I'm trying to get myself off of all the pain meds, but they're still making my brain a little bit cloudy. Okay, so we have our lecture, The Power of Context. You have your Artist of the Week. Guess what? No questions that go along with this. This is strictly enrichment this week for Leonardo da Vinci. You do have a reflection, so you have a blog entry that you're going to be doing based on a guy we're going to be looking at named Erwin Panofsky. You have a project called Out of Context that I think is kind of a fun, creative writing assignment. And then, of course, you have your quiz. So a lighter week. Yes, you have some writing, but it's not, a serious formal analysis paper. This one we can have a little bit of fun with. So remember, everything's due by Sunday at midnight. Make sure you're submitting work on time. And as those of you who have emailed me about this have seen, I tend to give grace. If you email me and say, hey, this is what's going on, can I have an extra day or two? I'm 99% of the time going to say yes. So, but if you don't email me and let me know that your work is going to be in late, I will hit you with a late penalty, because that's just fair. Okay, so here's your reading, your lecture, and your quiz, of course. So it repeats your reading assignment again. Here are the slides. This is your lecture for the week. You can also follow this link here to view it. Your vocabulary, guess what? Short list. Yay, no more long, tedious lists of vocabulary. We've gotten those out of the way. So you have all that under your belt, and we can move ahead from here. So we're going to talk about the different types of context: architectural, narrative, museum context, natural context, urban context, as well as, we'll touch upon those ideas of social, cultural, political, historical, personal narrative, all that kind of stuff. And this lecture is going to talk about a guy named Erwin Panofsky, who is a German art historian who we're going to be using quite a bit this week. So here's that Artist of the Week little enrichment that I've given you. Again, there's no questions attached to this one, so this isn't an assignment, it's enrichment purely. So, but there's a cool little video about Leonardo da Vinci, pretty short, and then there's just some websites for you to explore. There's a really cool documentary that is on Netflix, actually, called Mona Lisa is Missing. If you're curious as to why the Mona Lisa kind of gained the fame that it did, a lot of it has to do with the theft that happened early in the 20th century. And just some cool stuff for you to explore, excuse me. So consider how Leonardo da Vinci has left a lasting legacy on not just the world of art, but the world of science as well. So that's the kind of things I want you to look at while you are looking through this stuff. Okay, so your reflection, it's a blog this time. So make sure that you view your lecture first before you do this, because it won't make sense if you don't. So you're going to select a work of art of your choice from the Met Museum website, and I've given you the link to it, so you should just be able to click right here, and it will take you directly to the collection from the Met Museum. So you can search through this collection, you can kind of browse. There's just all kinds of cool stuff. So you can browse by artist, you can browse by type of material, geographic location, date, era, etc. So kind of go through there, pick anything that you want. I want you to pick a work of art that you can find ample research on. So don't pick something that's really obscure that has little information. So what you're going to do is, in your blog entry, you're going to include the image of your work, or the image that you've selected, with proper citations. So that's one thing in the deconstruction project I noticed. A lot of you were still not citing your artwork appropriately. So I want the artwork, and directly underneath it, we should have the artist's name, the title of the work in italics, the year it was created, the medium, and the source, which is the full web address where the image is found. So for our class purposes, that's how I want you to be citing them. So by now, we should have a pretty good handle on that. So you're going to analyze the artwork using Panofsky's 3 levels of interpretation. So we're going to use the natural, the conventional, and the intrinsic level. So be sure that you subtitle each of these levels. And right now you're thinking, what on earth is the natural, conventional, intrinsic level? You're going to be very familiar with this once you watch the lecture. So in that natural level, I want you to keep it very simple. You're going to describe the scene without using any cultural knowledge. So this can include elements of design here, some of that formal analysis. But again, you have to think, if every human on the planet wouldn't understand this, then I need to pull back and make it even simpler. So conventional level, use your own cultural understanding to analyze the work before you do any research. And that research I'm asking you to do is going to come into that intrinsic level. So I want you to include at least one source that you've gained or gleaned research from. This level is about looking outside the picture frame. So properly cite this source as a footnote at the end of your entry. And then I want you to take a look at your peers' posts and enjoy exploring what they've looked at. So this is about you practicing Panofsky. This is about practicing ideology and practicing analyzing a work of art, kind of stripping it down to its basics and then building up those levels of understanding. So if you have any questions about the lecture material after you viewed the lecture and before you do this assignment, please, again, don't hesitate to send me an email saying, hey, can you explain the intrinsic level a little more? I'm having trouble in this area. Okay, your out of context project. So this one's, I think, is kind of a fun, a little bit silly project. It can be. So you're going to use the Google Cultural Institute. So this is that website. So if you go ahead and click on the link, it should take you right here. And this is a really cool website if you haven't used it or looked at it yet. One thing that's cool that we can do is we can look at different collections, different artists, different artworks, but we can also, let's see, if we were to look at collections, for example, we could go to, let's find somewhere cool to look. Let's museum view. Okay, let's look at the Acropolis Museum in Greece. So what you can do is, you know how Google has the cool Street View technology? Well, they've created Museum View. So you can basically, if you click on the Museum View, it'll give you the floor plan of the museum, and you can walk through. So you should be able to kind of browse the different galleries. You can go ahead and click on a different room. It will take you somewhere different. And they have different floors, so you can, make sure that you click on those, look at the first floor, etc. Anything that has a little square like this, you can go ahead and click on that, and it will take you to that work. You can zoom really far in and look at textures of sculptures, paintings, drawings, etc. You can click on details, and it's going to give you a description of the work. Sometimes there'll be a lot more information since this is art of antiquities. Sometimes it's a bit ubiquitous. But we can go back to the Acropolis Museum, all that kind of stuff. So you could go to Met, and you could click on the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and you're going to have a really big collection of work to go through here. So you can see there's 2 levels for you to look at. You can, again, kind of visit the different rooms, different galleries, and you should be able to kind of browse through. So it's a really fun website to explore. It kind of brings the museum world to you. But what we're going to be doing with our project is you're going to select a work of art, just like in your blog entry. So you're going to select one work of art to research, and it can be from any time period, any geographical location. And this is a 2 to 3 page paper. And what you're going to do is I give you 3 points that I want you to cover. So 1, briefly describe the context of the image. So again, we're practicing context. This would include any social, political, personal, historical factors that went into its creation. So again, this is going to require a bit of research, so make sure you select a work of art that you can find ample research on. This is not really the time to pick some very obscure thing. Go ahead and pick something by a more iconic artist, because we're practicing at this point. So you want to be able to pick someone who you can find a lot of information on. So, and the second objective here is to describe how viewing your chosen work through the Google Art Project might change the way we interact with and understand the image. So is seeing it virtually rather than physically, is it better? Is it worse? Go ahead and explore that. And then this is where the kind of fun part comes in. So I want you to use your imagination in this third objective here and take your work of art out of the context and its original context and place it somewhere else. So for example, how would a Renaissance audience react to seeing a Picasso? What if Michelangelo's David was presented at the circus? So those are just a couple of examples. So I want you to describe how changing the context of the artwork could possibly change the way we understand it. So be creative, have fun with this. So yes, I want a title page, MLA or APA style guides. It is a safe assign, so it will scan for plagiarism. If you do use any outside sources for research, be sure that you include any in-text citations where appropriate, and a works cited section at the end of the paper. So yes, we're still practicing that academic style of writing, and yet you get to have a lot more fun with this one. So be as creative, use your brain to kind of come up with somewhere very different to place this work. And it's just, again, about remembering why context is important when we're looking at a work of art and how context can change the way we understand something. So you've got that Out of Context project, your Panofsky blog. This is really kind of optional, this Artist of the Week. You have your lecture and then a quiz that goes along with your lecture. So a little bit of a lighter week this week. If you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Any questions about grades, let me know. I'm here to use as a resource, and have a great week, everyone.